Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very successful and respected ed tech entrepreneur from Noida, India, Mr. Sandeep Srivastava. Sandeep, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And this is absolute privilege. Absolute privilege. I have visited your webcasts and and they're real amazingly
Thank
powerful.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sandeep is the co-founder of the Academic Accelerator. He's the founder director, strategic initiatives, and mentor of IYC World Soft Infrastructure Private Limited. So, Sandeep, my first question for you: you began your career in computer engineering and corporate strategy before founding IYC World. What turning point led you to dedicate your life to education reform?
Yeah. So as it always happens, part accident, part following a path guided along the way. So the first was that I became the first Indian with my co-author, of course, who was also Indian and now the dean of the State Business School, Oxford, Sumitra Datta, authored the among the first few books about internet globally. Okay,
Hmm,
called Impressive Internet, published in the
hmm,
US
hmm.
by Financial Times. And that was revealing. I realized this technology needs to be used for social infrastructure.
Right.
Okay. Then, 26 years ago, before the dot-com bust,
Correct.
uh, and then I got stamped H-1B visa in France after my INSEAD, and uh, and uh, came back to India.
Hmm.
So that was another. Never went to the US.
Yeah.
So another destiny accident.
Hmm.
And the third, that our daughter, we have just one daughter, one child. She walked out of school in grade six, and
Okay.
she went to Mirambika Aurobindo Ashram,
Hmm.
the best, arguably the best possible school you can imagine for a child.
Hmm.
And grade six, she says, I don't want to go to school.
Hmm.
So from grade seventh onwards, we homeschooled her and taught her everything till grade 12
Amazing.
for A level and IGCSE as a private student. And that experience was out of the world. It changed
Amazing.
us more than her, I think. So these three
Yeah.
actually.
What an amazing story and what an amazing journey. Thank you, Sandeep, for sharing this. Sandeep, you've also described your work as an unreasonable anchoring on economic dignity for all. What personal experiences have built this conviction?
Okay. Uh, First and foremost, I really hats off you for the research that you do for your work. I mean, I'm privileged and I'm educated,
Hmm.
motivated to follow you in this aspect. Okay. So uh, So there's again a bit of a digression,
Hmm.
brief history. If you're born in a particular part of this country, Bihar, okay, you write civil services, and if you're good at education, you write civil services.
Correct.
So I wrote very successful one attempt, and then the next two attempts didn't happen. So this is only to say that I grew as a social anthropologist by accident.
Hmm.
In the preparation for my civil service examination, I studied and I had anthropology and public administration because there was no
Hmm.
computer science
Hmm.
as an elective. So I grew phenomenally in a very different direction.
Right.
That's the context. So all these years I have been very focused on dignity, society, people, education, etc.
Hmm.
And and till about 3 years back, uh, I had no clue about how do you ensure human dignity actually.
Hmm.
And about 2 3 years back, I studied a book which said that even a poor person, the poorest of us, uh, has to celebrate his wife's birthday, has to marry off daughters and sons, has to send
Correct.
children to school,
Hmm.
so that there are social roles which everyone has to perform,
Hmm.
poor or not poor. And then it dawned on me, oh, it is economic dignity actually. There's
Hmm.
no dignity of a person if there's no economic independence actually.
Hmm. Well
And
said.
and then I realized, that's where do whatever, secure economic dignity for everyone if you want human dignity. So
Fascinating.
that's
And a few minutes back, Sandeep, you were telling me about how you were ahead of your time when you wrote about the internet
right.
to reimagining education for the AI age. How have you managed to stay ahead and yet grounded through these decades?
Uh, Ashutosh, we live in India. We know this about our country,
Yeah,
lovingly and half lovingly. Uh, uh, India grounds you actually.
correct. Correct.
Nothing works in this country actually.
Yeah.
So that you, and if you're committed to a cause somehow,
Mm,
you just keep at it.
mm,
You just keep at it.
yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Mm,
So that's one reason for grounding. The other is that we are also, so no, Kerala is not the only God's country.
mm,
India is God's country actually.
correct.
So so it also happens that we survive.
Mm,
Okay, economically, I mean. Okay, okay, okay. Decent survival
mm,
also happens. God grants you that. And in our case, it was Middle East customers, schools, which actually still sustain us. Actually,
mm,
Indian business is very small, unfortunately.
mm, mm,
And the third thing which I want to really emphasize here, and which is very interesting, is that because of my education abroad at the best schools, uh, I knew that I won't take money in equity. So we still own 100% of the equity
mm,
25 years later.
mm,
No debt, because I knew if I take debt, I'll follow the top line. I
mm,
will not be able to pursue my dreams.
correct.
So that not taking money
Mm,
is how we survived
mm,
and remained grounded,
amazing.
bootstrapped up after 25 years to 11, not much
Mm,
now.
mm,
Okay for 15 years now.
mm.
But so that's also the reason that we
Fascinating.
didn't give equity up.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Let's talk about the four IR, which is the fourth industrial revolution. How do you define 100% by 100% quality education? And what makes it achievable today?
Okay. So, 100% by 100% is actually very simple. 100% quantity and each of them 100% quantity. So,
Correct.
so quantity and quality.
Mm,
And uh, uh, this 100% quality is easily understandable, but not the 100% quantity.
mm,
Because just about every one of us, the best of us, miss the point that education makes us human. We are not. We are very poorly born as a human.
mm,
Those 2 decades make us human.
mm.
By the time we reach adult, I
Yeah.
mean, in fact, all other animals live by their biological DNA. We live by the social
Mm,
DNA.
right.
Okay? So the education is not optional.
Correct.
You cannot imagine one person in the world left behind in education, because if he's left behind, he'll be closer to animal. And
Right.
and even poorer than that, because our biological capabilities are very limited. We
Mm,
can't fly, we can't swim, okay? We can't run fast, we can't do anything actually. So a dog is born a dog. There's
mm,
no education needed. For everything is the DNA, biological DNA. For us, everything is social DNA.
mm,
So that 100% quantity, the world is missing it at the moment actually.
mm. Very well
That's
explained.
human
Very well
development.
explained. Tell me also how the liberal school addresses the gaps between current K to 12 education and the demands of the fourth industrial revolution era.
Thank you so much for actually bringing this up. This is very close to me also.
Hmm.
Okay, so interestingly, there's no school in the world which is called the liberal school.
Mhm.
There are all kind of names,
Correct.
but liberal, because K-12 is regimentation.
Hmm.
Absolutely, absolute age, grade, curriculum, lockstep.
Correct.
Period. Okay, there's no escape from it. There's no school in the world which is able to achieve even enrichment in a grade.
Hmm.
You just follow, say top or not, and 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 biology hasn't told much about how humans learn yet. But AI, which is, and especially the generative AI,
Hmm.
has told us something about how humans learn.
Right.
And it is that acceleration learning is accelerated,
Hmm.
learning is
Hmm.
compounded.
Hmm.
Only when your learning is compounded will you really learn or
Hmm.
grow.
Hmm.
Only when you can accelerate and not have the natural barriers of grades, I mean artificial barriers of grades, etc., you can learn and grow.
Mm.
So AI is telling us that end this lockstep
Mm.
completely. You let people, children accelerate their learning
Mm.
and they will flourish.
Mm.
It is as simple as that, actually.
How amazing. How
Okay.
amazing.
Okay. And there's one more thing here, that is, and it is that uh, uh, liberal also implies that we expand the curriculum.
Mm.
Okay. That is philosophy, psychology, engineering, technology, sociology, political science. And last thing here, so the world of education globally has pulled a fast one on humanity, humankind.
Mm. Mm.
So for all subjects you study, history as history, geography as geography, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Political science you study as civics,
Mm.
a K-12 invention.
Mm.
Okay, where you are only told that free and fair election is democracy,
Correct.
and we don't know anything else actually. So expand the curriculum and and, and to be
Fascinating.
fuller human actually.
Fascinating. What role does mathematics and mathematized thinking play in achieving educational equality across nations?
I can't be more thankful for you to asking this question and the way
Mm.
you have asked,
Mm.
to be true. Okay, so first of all, uh, uh, the math that we learn at school, or what the school system calls as mathematics,
Mm.
is zero mathematics.
Mm.
It is not even full arithmetic actually. Okay, that's a longer debate discussion. Never get into it. But with this statement made, uh, let's go to some very simple things about mathematics. Mathematics is the only universal language across the universe. It's God's language. Okay, the world is so mathematical because math is a language for any system. You can't make a system without mathematics. Okay, math is a language for order. Any
Correct.
ordered thing will be mathematical. The planets are moving around this. It is purely mathematical.
Yeah.
Okay, so mathematics is actually universal, not just earth-wide. Math is the easiest domain. It has only 10 digits or alphabets. It has only
Mm.
4 pages grammar. Okay. There are only 20 conventions to
Mm.
follow, and it is rigidly hierarchical. There are very few
Right.
concepts in mathematics K-12, far
Mm.
lesser than science and social science.
Mm.
But it is rigidly hierarchical, very
Mm.
deep. So if you get that right, you are done.
Mm.
And secondly, math in the AI age, math. So my definition as an educator of AI is it is mathematized reading mind. LLM is actually mathematized reading mind.
Mm.
It reads and organizes its thinking in data and models.
Mm.
Okay, math is the brain. Math is truly the real world language, which
Correct.
complements AI, and
Mm.
humankind is mathematizing.
Fascinating. And I completely agree with you. I mean, I've always agreed that mathematics is a very critical part of all our
Right.
education. Very well said.
Is the easiest to be polymathic in thinking.
Correct. Correct. You also emphasized technology of education rather than technology in education. What is the key difference?
Ah, okay. Uh, uh, so here I wear my technology hat in the sense that I studied computer engineering when just about 200 people studied
Mm.
in this country.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, 83, 87. So I have very different understanding of technology, and I've never coded. So by the end of second year of my engineering, 17A out of 17A, 10 CGPA, I said मुझे coding नहीं करनी है. Okay, no coding for me rest of my life. So I remained very pure, you know, IT person, technology person in that sense. Okay, uh, and uh, and uh, uh, that gives me a very different perspective of technology. Now let me go back to technology in education. So so the biggest technology in education has been Blackboard. From children writing on their board, slate, to the blackboard, is education's biggest innovation. Second was the bus. Bus could transport children beyond their village or beyond this. Okay, so larger schools rather than one room schoolhouses, etc. And etc. Now, all of these in retrospect haven't helped. The world is at its poorest. And one more fact, for example, very few people know that K-12 system, the one we have today, was founded to help democracy in the US,
Mm.
to strengthen informed citizenship for democracy. And the sixth generation learned, schooled humankind has the poorest democratic credentials today across the world. There's no nation.
Mm.
So the actual technology hasn't helped. And this
Yeah.
is because we have brought technology into education with and not looked at the technology of education itself
Mm.
and then used appropriate technology.
Mm.
So I'm about understand education and then bring in appropriate technology.
Mm.
And the good news is AI will be the last nail in the coffin of technology and education.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ask you why or how because that's a totally different subject, but
Yes.
maybe for another conversation.
Yes.
Sandeep, what is the concept of the family edition curriculum and how can it transform parent-child learning?
Okay. So, so yes. So I mean, we all have, uh, we all have had the privilege of actually being educated at the best places in the country, abroad, and all that. Many of us, and yet we need a school for our children, for basic grammar, for basic mathematics. You could be PhD in mathematics, but by grade ninth, your child has to be tutored. Full stop. No exception. No exception. But no exception. Okay. Uh, Uh, and to me, this is one of the bigger tragedies of humankind. Okay, and so there's something wrong that is happening. We all went through the same system and much higher, but we can't do the schooling. So 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 we need to go back to our roots. And anyway, for 99%, 90.99% of the humankind's existence, we never had formal education. Family and community was the only thing. Okay, and we did so well. So that it's about bringing back the power to the parents and the family and the communities to take charge of their education of the children.
Mm.
And in that I play a small role there. Okay, that is re-narrated the entire K-12
Mm.
academy.
Mm.
And perhaps one more perspective here helps. There's also a time in this AI world that the parents themselves need to re-educate, to be able to AI ready themselves.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Let's now talk about another aspect, which is economic dignity and human capital transformation, another area that I was fascinated to read when I was preparing for my conversation with you. How can societies rebuild their human capital in a single generation through the family college model?
Okay. So, uh, you know, um, um, uh, again, I this is very deep, and I'm very happy you are happy. Uh, you have asked this. Uh, Very interestingly and very fortuitously, actually, for society, we are very fortunate that the only prep now needed as far as making a man, okay, a human, is being AI ready, actually. Because there's nothing on earth now going forward that we will do which will not start with AI, hopefully not end with AI. Somewhere we'll leave AI, we will out iterate AI, out prompt AI and say that, you leave it here, I will finish this work now. Okay. So the only goal now is AI ready. And AI has done a few things for us. It has leveled everyone.
Hmm.
So your law education, your architecture education, your comp science education doesn't make my psychology education any lesser than you as far as problem solving and using technology is concerned.
Hmm.
I could just be as good actually.
Correct.
Okay, in whole that part. So if we only get our education right to support AI readiness, and again, fortunately, AI is nothing new. What has changed in AI with the chat GPTs of this world is that it has allowed interface, which is natural language. So anyone can access it.
Well said.
And
Said.
and it has expanded massively in terms of dimensions. So it very uniquely complements and supplements every one of us my way. Okay. So just one generation, if you can make everyone AI ready, which has nothing to do with technology per se, we have done it.
Very interesting.
It's just one goal. Just
Yeah,
one goal.
absolutely. AI ready is an important goal for everybody today. But moving on, how do you envision the balance between economic growth and human values in the fourth industrial revolution era?
Uh, I mean, I, uh, this is a difficult question in a way because, ethical questions are always here. But again, I'm very privileged that you asked so that I'll just share my thing. Uh, my study and my data tells me today that all the young leadership, okay, uh, uh, of technology companies have been very anti-human, anti-society kind of a thing, including Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, or uh, or even uh, OpenAI. They are creating technology for technology's sake. Okay, and they're very clear about it. Yes, there'll be job losses. There is, yeah, perhaps new jobs will be created, etc., etc., etc. So I'm I can only contribute this to their narrow, poor quality education. Those who studied engineering, studied math and science and nothing else. They are very thin cultured in their own cultures, actually. Forget about humankind, actually. So an expanded culture, a deeper, deeply cultured, and anyway, I mean, my definition of a well-educated person is thick culture. A cultured adult is best educated, actually. Okay, so to me, the technologies are very poorly rooted in the societies and in the larger global humanity. And as far the educators are concerned, uh, educators have lost ethical balance uh, on two dimensions. Uh, they have lost focus of the last child. It's about toppers, about the average, and the last child count in every classroom is only increasing. Now, three-fourths of the class, the best classrooms are actually last children, totally gapped out. And the only qualification to be a good teacher is actually love for children, not subject anymore anyway, actually. Now, teachers, educators don't bring in the love for children. And the fact that you're not teaching physics, you're teaching a child. Your
Correct.
stories happen to be physics.
Well said. Well said. Sandeep, I have time for two more questions for you. You spoke about the need for everyone to be AI ready.
Right.
My question is, what ethical responsibilities do technologists and educators share in shaping AI era for kids and humanity?
Wow. Wow. Perhaps the most important. In fact, yesterday, I read, no, this morning, Trump saying that Bill Gates has accepted that the climate change is not that a threat. I thought this is a huge shift of his views. So I went there. I read what Bill Gates has said yesterday, and coming down to this, all that he actually is implying that only if you can ensure economic dignity and education, okay, climate could be mitigated. He said this. So that brings actually to your question of how technologists, etc., have to look at this. So my phrase for it is AI untouched children by grade 8 and AI ready by grade 8.
Okay.
So everyone, and this is there is a duplicity here actually. So the best schools in SFO and other places have, I won't name the schools, okay, where all these tech czars children study, okay. no technology policy till the age of 12 at home and school. You can
Amazing.
only enroll your children in those schools if you guarantee no technology at home and at school, and except no technology at school.
Wow.
So first thing is that till the age of 13, maybe, no technology actually. Go back to reading, go back to physical, go back to real. Okay. So that's one thing. And the other thing is expand, ensure that we all grow up with much expanded curriculum.
Amazing. And my last question for you, given your vast experience, how can India lead in developing globally relevant human capital systems?
Okay. Thank you. And this is very dear to me as well. I'm sure this is very dear to you. This is a
Great.
a very personal question for you too, actually. Yes. Yes. Okay. So I want to start here with what we have been hearing about Indians across the world. Okay. That people are saying we are not clean, we are rude, and blah 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 blah. Go back to your country because so yes, I think, but India is not a country, it is actually a civilization, truly a civilization. We're all proud of it on some dimension. I think we need to deep root it, truly speaking, in our education system. And that's not about going back to the Hindu system or the past or that. No, it's just saying that deep root cultural things and make it very, very important.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.